Today we're talking about making your own drum sounds in Zenology Pro or the MC-707. Basically, using Zencore to make your own drum sound. The idea behind that came because I was looking to either recreate on the MC-707 the way of working of a TR-8s, so using the MC-707 as a drum machine only, or, and that's going to be another video, using the TR-8s as an MC-707. Because I've got the two of them and I feel I've got too much gear. And at one point, they're both kind of fighting to be the center of my studio. So I'm wondering if I only use one of the two, can it do most of the job of what I have the other for? Will I keep the MC-707? Will I keep the TR-8s? They, of course, they cannot fully replace the other because they both have features and functions that do not exist in the other one. But as a general piece of gear in a studio, you know, the MC-707 have 8 different tracks. My logic would be to say, in my 8 tracks, maybe I keep one for the kick, one for the snare, one for the hi-hat, and one for another one. I've got like 4. Or the 4th one is rest of the drum, you know, because you can load the drum inside it. But the logic of having 4 of them is that I can actually start and EQ and control separately the tracks like I would do on a TR-8s. I could even use the 8 of them if I want to. But knowing that I can do with the other tracks, so let's say 5, 6, 7, and 8 would be bass, lead, pad, and rhythm, whatever, you know. So I can have a full song, but still have kick, snare, and hi-hat, or kick, snare, and clap, whatever it is that you want to control in real time. But I would still have these in real time that I could control and create beats at them at the same time. So I like this idea a lot. And to be able to do that, you either have to create your own drum as not a drum kit, but as an instrument. So like a bass or a synth or a piano, whatever it is that you want to play. If you want to create drums like that, they have to be in the instrument section and not inside a drum kit. Anyway, the MC-707 or Zenology Pro, the drum kits are samples, which is fine. But if you want to control them a little bit more, if you want to be able to put them like LFOs and stuff like that and have some movement in it, it's not something you can have easily in the drum kit. But that's something you can do with the TR-8s. Each sound can have controls and motion controls, all that stuff. So the MC-707, if I want to do that, I decided to start by saying, let's actually make sounds, create my own drum sounds, because I've got a graphic interface on the Zenology Pro, and I can create like a bank of kick and snare and stuff like that. And when they're ready, I put it on my disk, put them in my MC-707, and I started with that. But we're also going to look into how to make them on the MC-707 quickly to just have a sound that you want to play with. Let's actually look into that. So I've got the Roland Zenology Pro inside ZenBeats. So basically you load Zenology Pro. I'm just going to solo this one here. Zenology Pro, when you open the edit window, you've got this whole thing. I did another video about it. If you want to know more, click somewhere over there to know all of the synthesis here. But the logic would be, the simplest way to do it would be to say, I'm just going to have an open envelope. So I'm going to use only one partial 1. And that's what I see here, partial 1. I have a PCM, so it's a sample that Roland did and put into Zenology. Now, I'm hoping that Zenology internal sound banks have the same PCMs available in the MC-707. I'm going to see if it works, but by default, I imagine that they have, I'll configure, we'll know as I use it. So these PCMs are samples that Roland did. They're part of the basic package. They're not extension, because you can buy extension if you want, but I don't want to go there. I just want to be able to use the internal one because they're enough to do the kicks that I want. So I've got, you know, the pitch information here. I just click on the kick and I verify that I'm in, because right now I'm actually loading a sample, but it's not a sample that I can sample. It's a sample that Roland did. So I've got the internal A. I'm an internal A. I can even, filter just kick and have only kick, but gradually you go into, oh, this is expansion, session drums, internal C and B. So let's say I'm going to keep an internal A. I've got a lot of real kick, old kick, dry kick, mix kick, hip hop kick, synth kick. So if I play just my loop here, I've got this little loop playing. You hear that? Okay. So I go. I like this one. So these are just sample. And you have the classic 808 mini version of it, and 909. And rock. Now they might sound bizarre sometime. If you close this, you can also go back into the filter and decide if you want to open. Is there anything wrong with this? The filter, is it open? I'm going to off the amplitude. If I want it to be louder, sorry, I go here. I just So I like these electronic kick. They have this, they're beefy, distortion kick. And of course, you've got everything else just by taking this one. After that, you can just go into EQ. You can boost if you want. So you can EQ it so it sounds the way you want. And you could also send it to whatever you want for effects. There's also effects in there. The cool thing about this is that I like to use the others also. If I look into so this one I call it pick your own PCM kick. So you just click on the PCM you want and you have the sample that Roland gave you. But I like my own kick, like this one, or this one I like really a lot. They've got partial A, partial B. You don't hear it because partial B is actually modulating partial one with cross modulation. So you've got cross modulation happening here, and you have the depth between the two, but you don't listen to the second one. The second one is mostly distorting. If I want less of it, and then I basically played with filters here. Yeah, filter this one here. Look at the oscillators. It's a synth kick. But let's try, I'm going to try another one. So I'm going to go with this one. Okay, this one. Oh, wait a sec. This one is using two partials here. These two. Let's go back here. You have this one here, which is a virtual analog of a weird sine wave. The other one is a square wave. If you turn it off really low. This one also has, it dips. The pitch dips a little bit. So I'm going into the pitch. And there's here a very, very short movement of the pitch. We have the filter, very loud resonance, and that's what we hear. We hear the resonance moving. If I move the envelope here, That's the kind of, it's really just the resonance. If I bring this down, you can just tweak and tune the kick resonance to be where you want. And you want it to resonate longer, well, go into the amplitude, envelope, sorry. And you so that's the logic, and that's how I just build the one I have. And you could still add here PCMA. You could still go and add a kick. Could still go and say I'm going to add a kick, and you can still go see in the filter. That's the kick. That's with the filter. And that's the one that has more body. You have to listen to this with headphones or big speakers, but not on the phone speakers that sound. So that's it. I saved that. I did a lot of, testing in until I find something I liked about it. But what can be really interesting is when you start to do like hi-hats and stuff, listen to this one. So if I have this hi-hat, that's the part that I like. It's not just a sample, it's something that it evolves. So this one, no sample at all. It's really just, that's not what I want. This one is really just synthesis. So if you look at all the partials, you see, the only one that is active is the third one, which is a noise. That's it, just a noise. So the whole sound that we hear is basically this filter here. It's there, and this LFO is having this move slowly. And that's what we hear. And that's it. And of course, the hi-hat is very, the envelope is very short, so we don't have. Really fun to play, but now if I add another one, like the other one also, this one here is also a high noise. So different ways of the filter affecting the same noise gives me different hi-hats. So again, I like this because it's easy for me to then use it and tweak it. And again, that's just the noise. You can go PCM, you can go here, and you can load again a noise, or hi-hat. So one of them now is the hi-hat, the hip-hop hi-hat. So it's really easy to get to make it become the sound that you want. And have that movement. That's the part I really like. And for the snare, well, again, the first partial is just for the attack of the snare. And this one is maybe too long. It depends on, everybody's choice. I decided to have a reaction with the velocity. So the last note is played harder. So then velocity will make this volume go up. So we hear more of the release at the end. Because in the song itself, that last note here, this one here, has more power, more velocity. That velocity is basically controlling here, velocity sensitivity. Flash hard on it, the envelope will be heard more. So we hear more of this here. If I don't have this, I have the same thing here with the filter. But two happening at the same time, it does that sound. So you can create your own sound. It takes more time, but I like that part. I like that, make your own noisy snare. Now the logic is to see how easy it is to use these and put it there and just make it work. The one thing I don't have FM synthesis. I have cross modulation. I've got ring modulation. I've got sync modulation. So I can have still these weird stuff happening. But still, it has a different feel to it. And you can assign, well, we'll see on the MC-707, I'll be able to assign the 4 knobs to 4 destinations of the sound. So I could actually do some motion control with that also. Let's see. I now have on that disk the file that I just copied. I had to go into export and exported the whole bank into a single file on disk, on this disk. So now I can put it back in. It's in the folder sounds. Let's say we start a new track. Select this track. It says tone. I'm going to go in and load tone. Now if I press that sound, I want it here and here. And let's say this is going to be my snare. Not super cool. I only have a kick. So my snare, if I want to hear a snare now, I'm going to go to sound. Let's go exit. Normally you go either sound here by going into I'm in this one here. I go into sound, enter. I can actually do my own sound, or I go exit, and I go sound here, and I can go into sound file. So there's many options here: preset, project. I go sound file, load from Roland sound folder SD card. That's what I want. And if I'm not sure where I am, the arrows will give me an option of moving out and in. In the folder called sound, as we have here, I've got Nu-Trix drums for MC-707. Enter, I go in, and I've got the list of sound that I just copied that we just heard earlier. So now if I load this one, let's say I have this one. Okay, that's something cool. I want to have hi-hats. Load this one. Right away, I'm going to go into the same place for this one. And I'm going to say, I want to have hi-hat. Now, because I've got these here, of course, there's reverb. So then this works. But now, if I really want to create my own sound instead, I still can do it here, and I still have access. So I can go exit, 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 and I press here sound. Now I've got the easy patch. I've got my four oscillators that's assigned to one filter, and it goes into one amplifier, EQ, and effect. It's very simple, very straightforward. So that's my hi-hat. I've got the LFO in the hi-hat. And we'll see. Second window here, got these line here, second one. That's it. You start and create the sound you want. It doesn't have a super complex synthesis also. So I would be able to do a lot of things with just these. And if you go back to the oscillators, you have a choice of oscillator 1, 2. See, I've got noise on oscillator 3. And then the one that is most interesting, I think, is this one here, the kick. Now it plays with this. The kick, you've got a PCM on the first one. You've got a virtual analog second one. The other ones are off. So I turned this one off just to see. Yeah, that's the VA. That's the virtual analog one. Right away, this one also already has some value to the sound of a kick drum. I can actually go in and to the EQ and boost the lows. Okay. If I go back to the first one here. Then everything goes to the filter, and it's the filter that actually goes. If I open this one up. It's really the filter that does everything in this one. If you want to have all the same options that we saw in the Zenology, you can still go into section here where it's easy, change easy to partials, and then you've got access to everything, which is a little overwhelming because this screen is a little bit small for all of this information. Because now you can go into control, enter, oscillator 1, 2, 3, you've got the mod, cross modulation, ring modulation, everything's there now. That's a little bit too much for this screen, I feel. That's why I like to work with the screen on computer. So the real one thing that is missing for all of this is an actual editor for this. Roland, please. You have to release an editor for the MC-707 because it'll be so easy to just patch and edit. And honestly, do it for the iPad. Anybody who has a spare iPad can just have this as an editor for this. And just plug it in. You see that everything is there. It doesn't have to run any music. You just want it to be able to have deep and, quick access to all the deep values of the synthesis of the MC-707. It's there. It's a super powerful flagship synthesizer into a groove box. Give us the control, man. That's it. That's all for today, and I'm almost losing my voice, so that's going to be it for today. Stay safe, make more music. See you soon. Cheers.